welcome back to my channel. I'm Malin and today I want to share 10 tips for how to eat a vegan diet on a budget. I actually filmed most of this video back at the beginning of the year, just as we were exiting January and Veganuary had finished for the year. So I had new vegans in mind and wanted to give them some tips on how to stay on a budget while also staying on a vegan diet. But of course this applies to all of us or anyone who wants to cut costs in the food department, and I think this time is as good as any to talk about this. So I've got the 10 tips for you, and I was thinking to complement this video at a later date to maybe make a budget meal planner video or maybe some low-cost vegan meal videos. So please let me know if that's something you would like to see. Give the video a thumbs up if you want to see it and share in the comments what you would like to see. But yeah, let's get into it. Before we get into the tips, I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes on a variety of creative topics. And since joining Skillshare, I've really realized how diverse the content on the platform really is. And I've thoroughly enjoyed learning from the array of creative professionals that teach on there. There's everything from self-discovery classes to learning practical skills in basically any creative field that you can imagine. There are also lots of classes with sound advice and methods for running a successful creative freelance business. And they continuously upload new classes to the platform, so it always stays fresh even if you've been a member for a while. Recently, I've been learning more about artificial lighting and found Dan Lu's class, Film Lighting Made Simple, where she teaches the basics of lighting a subject with really useful practical examples. In the class, she also gives a simple assignment to share your own work onto the platform, and she leaves a helpful note on each submission, which I think is really wonderful. And if you would like to try Skillshare, the first 1,000 of you to click the link in the description box will receive a 2-month trial to the platform so that you can check out all the classes and see what's there. But now let's get into the video. My first and foremost tip to stay on a budget on a vegan diet is to focus on whole foods. I know as a new vegan, for myself, having been there once, that it's easy to fall back on processed foods, and these are definitely more expensive than some other staple whole foods like rice, beans, lentils, and vegetables and fruits. And they are also more healthy for you, so it's also good for that reason. But yeah, to save money, you focus on the whole foods and keep the processed foods for treats. When it comes to fruits and vegetables, it's really good to think seasonally. Usually what's seasonal is what's in abundance, and therefore it's cheaper. And when it comes to seasonal produce, it can be really good to think about what's grown locally around you, because usually these items are also the ones that are cheaper. But with that said, there are items that come from further afield that also have seasons in the countries where they come from, making them cheaper for periods of time throughout the year. So just keep an eye out and also search online to find out what's in season where you are right now. In the winter here in Sweden where I am, it's usually root vegetables, apples, and some greens, and that's about it. So just be mindful of what's in season around you. That'll be what's cheaper. Other than thinking seasonally, it's really good to check out the freezer section. Usually you get a better bang for buck in the freezer section, meaning that you get more of the item for the price. And things like berries for sure and other fruits are really great to get in the freezer section. They last longer, they're cheaper, and they're fresher, because when they freeze the produce that we buy in the freezer section, they do it straight after harvest, meaning that you get fresher produce this way. And other things that are great to get frozen are peas and corn and some greens as well. If you're making stews and soups and want to put greens in there, then it's really cool. And you can put that in smoothies as well rather than buying fresh spinach, for example. It saves you tons of money, so don't forget to buy food in the freezer section. Another tip for buying fruits and vegetables is to shop at your local market. Prices here can usually be a bit lower and the produce is often fresher as well. And I always like to support a local business as well, so that's a good thing to keep in mind. Buying in bulk is a great way of saving some money. Getting a bigger packet of something is always cheaper than getting the smaller one. I know that this costs more while you're in the store that one time, but it saves you money for the duration. So keep this in mind. If you can't afford to buy in bulk, do it. And I also want to say that lots of bulk stores now where you can bring your own containers are the same price as the regular supermarket. So if you're into lowering your waste, it's also definitely a good idea to try out a zero waste or a low waste shop where you can fill up your own containers. This also allows you to have the same buy in bulk mentality, but only buy as much as you like for specific recipes. So it's worth checking out. To find the cheapest products in the supermarket, always look for the own brand of the supermarket. So most supermarkets today have their own brand for lots of different products, for pasta, for rice, for beans, for ketchup, you name it. Here in Sweden, I can even find own brand organic supermarket stuff, which is really cool and is always a bit cheaper than buying other brands. And in my humble experience, it's usually equally as good, if not better. For certain items that we like to eat that are not really our own culture's foods, it's really good to shop in a world food market. So check out your local Asian store or Middle Eastern store. Usually you get better prices of items that are more typical for their culture. So buy tahini at the Middle Eastern store, or maybe beans and pulses or nuts, and definitely herbs and spices. And in an Asian store you can look for noodles, rice, tofu, tempeh, even some greens. You'll often get a better price for these types of items in the world food markets than you will in the supermarket where they consider it a specialty item. If you want to eat organic or buy organic produce or products, this can definitely be more expensive, but it can also be rewarding if it's in our budget, both for our own health and for the health of the planet. And one thing I like to keep in mind when I'm on a budget is to look at the Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen comes out with a list every year which tells you the 12 foods that have been treated with pesticides the most. This makes it easier for you to prioritize for what to buy organic, and I'll leave a link to the list in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. But a little disclaimer here, remember that not always is the organic foods more expensive than the non-organic. So keep your eyes open for deals and discounts. Putting effort into planning ahead will save you money for many different reasons. Number one, you can think about all those points that I already told you before and deciding where to shop for what. And also you could look at what deals are on in different supermarkets or shops and plan your meals with that in mind. And if you've planned ahead, you've decided what meals you're gonna have, you've bought the ingredients for them, and you know exactly what's happening, it keeps you from buying unplanned foods and getting takeout when really you don't need to. And cooking at home is always the cheapest, so focus on planning ahead and eating at home. Finally, I would like to advise you not to waste the food that you've bought for your hard-earned money. It's something almost all of us do a little bit too much, or definitely too much, and it's not only bad for the planet, it's bad for your wallet. So make sure that you eat the food you buy. And if you find that foods are getting old in the fridge, maybe you've cooked too much of something, put it in the freezer for later. And even ingredients can be frozen, like bananas that are going really brown, put them in the freezer, herbs, chop them up, put them in the freezer, or maybe make a dish that you didn't plan just so that you don't have to throw away your food and your money. As a bonus, I want to talk a little bit about growing your own food. If you have a garden, how lucky are you? You can grow your own veggies, you can plant fruit trees, you can plant bushes. I know this requires some time, but it will also definitely save you money. And having had a garden myself, I know it's really rewarding and relaxing. So if you have a garden, give it a go. And if you are like me and live in an apartment, you can grow shoots at home, you can grow herbs at home right on your windowsill. It's a fun pastime. It looks really lovely in your home, and you get to eat what you planted. And it's always really fun to see a little seed grow into a beautiful plant that you can enjoy on your own with friends or with family. So those were my 10 tips to stay vegan on a budget. I hope it was helpful. And remember to please let me know in the comments if you would like to see a budget meal plan or maybe a series on low-cost vegan meals. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care!